It is fitting that we begin our journey across the biomes of Earth with the one that we perhaps hold the most dear in our hearts. The greatest biodiversity of any area of Earth, with over half of all plant and animal species. The lungs of the world, absorbing more CO2 and producing more oxygen than any other. A product of constant heat and abundant rain. It's no wonder that plants grow here more vigorously than in any other biome. But it's also the biome that is under the greatest threat. Known as jungle, salva, or rainforest, these regions are in fact two distinct biomes, the evergreen and seasonal forests of the tropics. Equatorial regions of our planet, conditions of constant heat and plentiful rainfall, produce the richest biomes of all, since such conditions are optimum for plant growth. The biomes of the tropical evergreen and seasonal forests have the same basic components of tall, broad-leaved hardwood trees dominating the biomass, but beyond this their characters diverge out from that essential character. The tropical forests are believed to be the oldest of all Earth's biomes still in existence, being as much as 100 million years old. Compare this to the temperate forests at around 60 million years and the temperate grasslands at only 25 million years in origin. So where in the world do we find the tropical forests? As clued by their name, they occur only in the tropics between 23 degrees north and 23 degrees south of the equator, where high temperatures exist year-round. In general, there is a close relationship to the evergreen forests and the tropical. So, region by region, and starting in the Americas, tropical forests dominate Central America, with southern and western Mexico having seasonal forest, and as we travel further south these become evergreen all the way to the Pacific coasts of Colombia and Ecuador in South America. Most of the Caribbean islands have either evergreen or seasonal forests on them wherever they are exposed to moist, rain-bearing trade winds. South America has the most extensive tropical forests in the world, with the Amazon basin being the most famous, covering an area equivalent to the continent of Europe. Most of this is within Brazil, but it extends into the adjoining countries of the Guyanas, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru and Bolivia. The vast majority of this is evergreen, with seasonal forest on the periphery, as it morphs into the savannas of central Brazil, Venezuela and Bolivia. Southeastern Brazil has extensive seasonal forest which becomes evergreen along much of the coast, owing to moist trade winds year-round. Moving on to Africa, and we have the home of the second largest contiguous rainforest, that of the Congo Basin. The entire coast of West Africa from Nigeria to Senegal has evergreen forest which, like the Congo, has an edge of seasonal forest before it transforms gradually into the extensive savannas that dominate this continent. Evergreen and seasonal forests also exist in parts of Ethiopia, where a subtropical highland climate exists, and the western and northern coasts of Madagascar where favourable trade winds deliver plenty of rain year-round. On to Asia now, and the Indian subcontinent, which would have the largest area of tropical seasonal forest in the world if so much of it had not been cut down for agricultural purposes to feed the world's second largest population. This natural vegetation type dominates here due to the dramatic shifts in wet and dry seasons brought on by the Indian monsoon, the world's most extreme. Evergreen forests exist on the western coast of India where the monsoon rain is so high that the ground stays wet for most of the year. Flooding in the lower Ganges basin throughout the dry season also keeps most of Bangladesh in the natural evergreen type, although again most of these forests are gone due to extensive agriculture to feed its massive population. The island of Sri Lanka is home mostly to evergreen forests due to its exposure to moist trade winds all year round. The Southeast Asian nations of Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia and Vietnam are home to a mix of seasonal and evergreen forests, depending upon the drainage and retention of water, as all these countries experience a significant dry season. The southern coasts of China all the way to Taiwan also have a mix of tropical forest types. As we move into the Southeast Asian archipelagos of the Philippines, Malaysia and Indonesia, however, the evergreen forest becomes dominant, and this collectively makes up the third largest rainforest in the world, with much of it still in its natural state, particularly on the world's second and third largest islands, New Guinea and Borneo. As we move into Oceania, and we have a narrow band of rainforest existing along the northern and northwestern coasts of Australia, where exposure to moist trade winds leads to plenty of rain, allowing favourable conditions for evergreen and seasonal growth of tropical forest. Lastly, we come to the Pacific, and all islands that lie within the tropical zone have evergreen forests, from the Solomon Islands to Fiji, Micronesia and certain coasts of the Hawaiian Islands that are exposed to moist trade winds for much of the year. Among these are the more famous hardwoods such as mahogany, teak, ebony and rosewood. Hundreds of species within the palm family are also common. Coniferous trees such as pine, etc., on the other hand, are relatively rare in these parts. When we move into the seasonal or dry forest, where trees lose their leaves in the dry season, biodiversity is significantly less, and in contrast to the multi-species canopies of the rainforest, often the forests can be dominated by a single species over wide areas, such as the teak forests of Myanmar. Tree species distribution varies geographically and is roughly divided into three subkingdoms: the Neotropical, African and Melanesian. In Central and South America, mahogany, cedar, myrtle, laurel, palm, acacia, rosewood and Brazil nut are common. In Africa, we find mahogany again, along with ebony, limba, wenge, agpa, iroko and sapele. In Southeast Asia, in addition to the well-known teak, a significant proportion of trees belong to the Dipterocarpus family, while others include durian, sandalwood and ironwood. In closing, we come sadly to the issue of the destruction of this biome, one practically all of us are aware of, especially in a year of unprecedented burning of forests in Brazil and Bolivia. At one time, logging of prized tropical hardwoods was considered the greater threat, but like so many other biomes worldwide, it is now farming that is the greatest threat to the forests of the tropics. In Bolivia and Brazil, illegally burning the land to then claim it as dead land that could be used for cattle ranching is being carried out to circumvent the usual rules that prevent such claims. While in Southeast Asia, habitat destruction is now at a scale never before seen, much of it being due to the demand for palm oil. I have seen with my own eyes from the air vast swathes of the forests of Indonesia and Malaysia turned into the hexagonal monoculture of palm oil plantations. Many of you might think, no, it's not possible that the rainforests could disappear. They're simply too big and just too precious, right? Well, if you need any precedent for this, look at the forests that once covered England, or India, or the prairies that once covered a dozen states of the USA. You can't because they're not there anymore. Destruction of natural habitats is very much in our history, stretching back thousands of years. And unless we learn how to accommodate the needs of a growing population throughout the tropics, then we may lose the most precious biome of all. So I hope you enjoyed this tour of the forests of the tropics. If you did, please like and share this video, share your thoughts in the comments and ensure you are subscribed to my channel so you can get notified when new releases occur. Thanks again for watching,